Welcome back my channel. In the early 1900s, India was a land vibrating with cultural richness, yet shackled by the heavy chains of British colonial rule. Under the vast expanse of the British Empire, India was seen as the prize jewel, a land of immense wealth, vast resources, and untapped potential. The political landscape during this period was one of rising unrest but also cautious cooperation. While nationalist movements were beginning to take root in small but significant ways, the British Raj maintained a firm grip over the governance and administration of the subcontinent. In the year 1901, King Edward VII ascended to the throne following the long reign of Queen Victoria, whose death marked the end of an era and the beginning of a new chapter for the British Empire and its colonial holdings. India, as the most prestigious colony, was deeply affected by these changes. Economically, India was an agrarian society, heavily reliant on agriculture and handicrafts. Trade flourished both domestically and internationally, facilitated by the construction of railways, ports, and telegraph lines, largely intended to serve the needs of the colonial rulers but inadvertently knitting the country closer together. Within this vibrant yet oppressive environment, currency played an essential role in the everyday life of the people. Coins were not merely mediums of exchange. They were symbols of authority and power, tangible reminders of the empire's reach into every market, every village, every hand. Among the multitude of coins circulating in the bustling bazaars of Calcutta, the crowded streets of Bombay, and the tranquil courtyards of Madras, the quarter anna held a place of particular significance. It was a coin accessible to the common man, facilitating small trades, daily purchases, and serving as an everyday connection between the individual and the overarching empire. The quarter anna India 1903 coin emerged in this context as both a practical tool and a piece of living history. Made primarily of copper, this modest coin was a marvel of craftsmanship and symbolism. It weighed approximately 4.85 grams and measured around 25.4 millimeters in diameter, a comfortable size that felt sturdy yet unintrusive in one's palm. On the obverse side, the coin proudly bore the effigy of King Edward VII, his regal profile facing right, crowned and draped in a style befitting the monarch of a global empire. Around the portrait, inscriptions proclaimed his title, Edward VII King and Emperor. Turning the coin over, one would find an intricate design encapsulating the denomination Quarter Anna India 1903, encircled by an elegant wreath of flowers and leaves, a subtle nod to India's lush botanical diversity. The craftsmanship was meticulous, each petal and leaf rendered with care, as if the coin itself sought to honor the land it circulated in. The raised rim and beaded edge lent the coin a tactile definition, ensuring its durability against the wear and tear of countless hands and transactions. Minted in Bombay, one of the principal mints of British India, the 1903 quarter anna was produced using advanced techniques of the time, which ensured high precision and uniformity across thousands of coins. Though not extraordinarily rare in its time, today surviving examples are prized by collectors, especially those preserved in high grades with minimal wear. The transition from Queen Victoria to King Edward VII brought more than a new face to the currency. It marked subtle shifts in the empire's posture. While Queen Victoria had been declared Empress of India, Edward's reign was about maintaining and consolidating the empire's vast holdings. Thus, the 1903 quarter anna represents not merely a change of monarch but a reaffirmation of imperial ideology through monetary design. The use of local motifs alongside the king's portrait subtly conveyed a message of benevolent domination, as if the empire embraced and protected the diversity of its colonial subjects. Stories abound from that era about the role of the quarter anna in daily life. Imagine a bustling market in Calcutta where a trader counts out quarter annas into a customer's hand in exchange for a fragrant bundle of spices. Picture a young child in Bombay saving a few quarter annas to buy a sweetmeat from a street vendor. Visualize a farmer in Madras paying for a tool or a bundle of cloth with a handful of these coins. The quarter anna, small yet significant, was woven into the fabric of everyday life, a constant companion to millions in their pursuit of livelihood and sustenance. In modern times, the 1903 quarter anna has found a second life as a treasured collectible. Its value today is determined by a multitude of factors, each telling its own story. Condition is paramount. A coin in pristine, uncirculated condition, where the king's features remain sharp and the wreath's delicate design untouched by time, can command a handsome price. Coins bearing certain mint errors, such as misstrikes or off-center images, are particularly sought after, often fetching prices far beyond their weight in copper. collectors across the globe have developed a deep appreciation for colonial-era Indian coins, driven by a mixture of historical fascination, aesthetic admiration, and personal nostalgia. The quarter anna represents more than just a bygone monetary unit. It encapsulates an era of profound change, of colonial domination and local resilience, of cultural synthesis and political awakening. Point 1. Can imagine a modern-day treasure hunter sifting through a dusty box in a grandparent's attic, the glint of a copper coin catching their eye. Upon closer inspection, they realize it's a 1903 quarter anna, remarkably well-preserved, a tiny yet potent relic of a bygone world. Taking it to an appraiser, they discover its potential value and are swept into the vibrant community of numismatists who understand the deeper significance of such finds. The grading of such coins follows a meticulous system. Coins are assessed on their strike, how well the design details were rendered during minting, surface preservation, the amount of wear and presence of any damage, luster, how the coin's surface reflects light, and appeal, the overall aesthetic attractiveness. A coin graded fine might show considerable wear but still retain clear major details, while an uncirculated example would appear almost as if freshly minted, with every line and curve preserved in stunning clarity. Through the stories told by collectors and historians, the 1903 quarter anna lives on. It continues to whisper the tales of traders, workers, farmers, and soldiers who once carried it in their pockets, exchanging it for goods, services, or perhaps saving it as a precious token of their modest wealth. It speaks of a time when India, though under foreign rule, thrived with its own unique energy and resilience, a land of contradictions and continuities, ancient traditions, and colonial impositions. Today, depending on its condition, rarity, and historical interest, the 1903 quarter anna from India can fetch between $150 to $1,800 in the collector market, making it not just a piece of history but a tangible link to the past, cherished by those who recognize its enduring value. In the year 1936, India was a land on the cusp of monumental change, simmering under the weight of colonial rule and the rising tide of nationalist fervor. The country's vast and diverse population, stretching from the snowy peaks of the Himalayas to the tropical shores of Kerala, lived under the British Raj, a governance system that had taken firm root for almost 2 centuries. Daily life in India during the 1930s was a curious mix of ancient tradition and colonial modernity. Bullock carts rolled alongside British-built railways. Women in flowing saris weaved past men in tweed suits and pith helmets. Temples rang with the sound of prayers while government offices echoed with the tapping of typewriters. Economically, India was largely agrarian, with the majority of its people relying on farming, crafts, and small trade for survival. However, the effects of the Great Depression had rippled even into the subcontinent, tightening resources and sharpening inequalities. Social structures remained rigid, though seeds of reform were being sown by brave souls who envisioned a free and equal India. Politically, the Indian National Congress was gaining ground, with figures like Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, and Sardar Patel becoming household names, leading peaceful protests and demanding self-rule. British administrators, while still in power, were finding it increasingly difficult to ignore the growing call for independence. Amid this rich historical backdrop, the Indian monetary system played a crucial role in everyday life. Coins clinked in the hands of farmers, traders, and housewives alike, enabling commerce, savings, and the delicate dance of economic survival. Among these coins was the quarter anna, a modest yet vital piece of currency that carried immense importance. The quarter anna was not just a means of transaction. It was a symbol of the times, a tangible link between ruler and ruled, between distant Britain and the heart of India. In marketplaces bursting with spices, silks, and pottery, in tea stalls where steaming glasses changed hands, in post offices where letters to distant relatives were weighed and stamped, the quarter anna played its part faithfully. It bought sweets for a child, thread for a seamstress, a pinch of tea leaves for a weary traveler. In a society where every paisa counted, the quarter anna was an unsung hero of daily survival. The 1936 issue of the quarter anna held a special significance. It was minted during a year of royal turbulence. King George V, who had reigned over Britain and its colonies since 1910, passed away in January 1936. His son, Edward VIII, ascended the throne, but his reign would become one of the shortest in British history. Edward VIII's intention to marry Wallis Simpson, an American divorcee, led to a constitutional crisis that rocked the British Empire to its foundations. By December of the same year, Edward had abdicated, leaving the throne to his brother, George VI. This sudden and unprecedented series of events had ripple effects even in the world of coinage. Traditional practice dictated that a new monarch's effigy would grace the coinage of the realm and its colonies. However, due to the abruptness of Edward VIII's abdication, coins bearing his likeness were either never issued or were struck only in extremely limited numbers, mainly as patterns or proofs. For India, this meant that most coins minted in 1936 still bore the portrait of King George V, making the 1936 quarter anna a poignant artifact from the twilight of a king's reign. The 1936 quarter anna is a coin of understated elegance. Struck in bronze, it carries a warm, earthy hue that has only deepened with the patina of the years. It is round, modest in size yet satisfying to hold, a perfect fit for the working hands that once used it daily. On the obverse, the coin proudly bears the crowned effigy of King George V, facing left. His image is regal yet approachable, a symbol of imperial authority yet softened by the familiarity of countless transactions. Surrounding the portrait are the words, George V King Emperor, a reminder of his dual role as monarch and ruler over the vast British Empire. The reverse of the coin is no less captivating. It features the denomination Quarter Anna India, 1936, encircled by a beautiful wreath of intertwined floral motifs, evoking the rich botanical traditions of India. The lettering is crisp, the design symmetrical, the craftsmanship reflective of a time when even the smallest denomination merited careful artistry. The coin measures approximately 25.4 millimeters in diameter and weighs around 4.85 grams, making it light yet substantial, delicate yet durable. Each coin was minted with a meticulous eye for detail, a testament to the high standards maintained at the government mints, particularly the Bombay and Calcutta mints, which were responsible for much of India's coinage at the time. The 1936 quarter anna holds another layer of fascination due to its position at a historical crossroads. With George V's death early in the year and Edward VIII's abdication later, the coin encapsulates a world in transition. It stands as one of the last official issues bearing the image of a monarch whose reign saw the upheaval of the First World War, the emergence of Indian nationalism, and the stirrings of a new global order. Although no quarter anna coins featuring Edward VIII were released for circulation, the mere proximity of the 1936 issue to such royal drama imbues it with a special aura. It is a relic not just of India's colonial past, but of an empire's uncertain future. Beyond its design and historical context, the 1936 quarter anna has woven itself into the tapestry of modern numismatics. Collectors and historians alike seek it out, drawn by its charm, its story, and its relative scarcity. Although millions were minted, the passage of time, the ravages of climate, and the simple wear and tear of daily use have rendered high-quality specimens increasingly rare. Coins that have survived in excellent condition, displaying full details and minimal wear, command premium prices on the collector's market. Factors such as luster, sharpness of strike, absence of corrosion, and eye appeal all influence a coin's desirability and value. The value of a 1936 quarter anna today hinges on several factors. Condition is paramount. Coins graded as extremely fine or uncirculated by professional grading services can fetch significant sums. Rarity also plays a role. Certain mint marks, errors, or varieties can add layers of value. For example, a 1936 quarter anna with an off-center strike, a die crack, or a doubling error could be worth several times more than a standard example. Provenance can also enhance value. A coin once owned by a notable collector or accompanied by rich documentation may command a premium. Auction houses have occasionally seen spirited bidding wars over pristine examples of the 1936 quarter anna, with final hammer prices reflecting both the coin's intrinsic worth and the emotions it stirs in collectors. Imagine for a moment a young numismatist, rummaging through an old box of family heirlooms, coming across a worn pouch filled with coins from decades past. Amid the dull gleam of silver rupees and copper pies, his fingers brush against the smooth surface of a 1936 quarter anna. The design catches his eye, the year sparks his curiosity. Upon researching, he discovers he holds a piece of history, a coin that has witnessed the final year of a king's reign, the rumblings of a nation's quest for freedom, and the personal dramas of royalty itself. That single discovery could ignite a lifelong passion for history, for collecting, for connecting the past to the present. Dada's demand for colonial-era Indian coins continues to grow, fueled by both nostalgia and investment interest. the 1936 quarter anna has steadily risen in prominence. Collectors from around the world, recognizing the coin's beauty and historical importance, have sought it out to add to their collections. Indian expatriates, in particular, find in such coins a tangible link to their ancestral homeland, a bridge across time and oceans. Meanwhile, investors appreciate the steady appreciation in value that rare, well-preserved examples command. The allure of owning a genuine artifact from the tumultuous year of 1936, a year that altered the course of empires, is simply irresistible. Coin grading has become an essential part of assessing a 1936 quarter anna's market value. Coins are evaluated on a scale ranging from poor to mint state, with factors such as strike quality, surface preservation, color, and eye appeal taken into account. A coin graded as mint state 65, MS65, for instance, would be a near-flawless specimen with full details and vibrant luster, while one graded very fine VF would show moderate wear but retain much of its original charm. Grading ensures that buyers and sellers have a common language to describe condition, fostering transparency and trust in the market. Over the decades, countless stories have emerged of forgotten 1936 quarter annas turning up in unlikely places. In dusty attics, buried treasure caches, antique shops tucked away in sleepy towns. Each discovery breathes new life into the coin's legacy, reminding us that history often hides in plain sight, waiting to be rediscovered. The joy of finding such a coin, the thrill of tracing its journey, the pride of preserving it for future generations, all contribute to its enduring magic. As the world of numismatics evolves, the 1936 quarter anna remains a steadfast favorite, a coin that embodies history, art, and memory. Whether nestled in a velvet-lined collector's case, displayed proudly on a scholar's desk, or resting quietly in a family archive, it continues to tell its story to all who are willing to listen, and today, depending on its condition, rarity, and provenance, the 1936 quarter anna from India can fetch anywhere between $300 and $2,000 in the collector's market, a testament to its lasting value and timeless appeal. Imagine stepping back in time to the year 1905, when the sun never set on the British Empire, and India, the crown jewel of that empire, pulsed with the energy of change and growing unrest. The streets of Calcutta bustled with horse-drawn carriages and traders shouting their wares. The scent of spices drifted over markets crammed with cotton fabrics, tea, and hand-wrought brass goods. In the background, a sense of tension simmered beneath the surface, as colonial rule tightened its grip even as Indian nationalism quietly gathered force. It was a time of political upheaval and awakening, a year marked deeply by the partition of Bengal. Lord Curzon, the Viceroy of India, had ordered Bengal divided into two, citing administrative convenience, but the true motivations were widely suspected to be more sinister: divide and rule. Bengali Hindus and Muslims alike felt the sting of manipulation and marginalization. Protests erupted across the land. Petitions were written in English and Bengali. Public meetings grew bolder, and for the first time, ordinary citizens began to feel that they could challenge imperial authority. In this complex, layered society, life still had to go on. Merchants opened their shops each morning. Farmers harvested their rice fields. Fishermen brought in the daily catch to the markets. And in the hands of these people, passing from palm to palm, the small copper quarter anna coin was an ever-present companion. The economy of India in 1905 was deeply colonial. Agriculture was the mainstay, engaging nearly 70% of the population, but much of it was structured to benefit British trade interests. Indigo, cotton, tea, and opium were grown not just for local consumption but for export to Europe. Railroads, telegraphs, and ports were built not to empower Indians but to make the extraction of goods more efficient. Yet, within this structure, life vibrated in colorful local markets. In these markets, the quarter anna was crucial. A quarter anna could buy a handful of lentils, a small bundle of firewood, a few mangoes. Wages for laborers were often measured in annas and paise, and the humble quarter anna served as the bridge between effort and survival. This tiny piece of copper, weighing just a few grams, connected countless lives. For a child, it could mean a sweetmeat after school. For a farmer, it could pay for an extra tool sharpener. For a widow, it could buy a candle for the altar. In a land of millions, the quarter anna moved silently, faithfully, unnoticed in its importance, yet vital for the fabric of everyday existence. It was against this backdrop of colonial domination, swelling nationalist sentiment, and daily perseverance that the quarter anna of 1905 was minted and came into circulation. The quarter anna was more than a coin. It was a silent witness to the life of a nation in flux. Its importance could not be overstated. Without small change like the quarter anna, daily commerce would have been crippled. Markets could not have functioned. Laborers could not have been paid. The coin was a lifeline that kept the complex heartbeat of India alive under the enormous weight of empire. Now, close your eyes and picture this coin. The 1905 quarter anna, crafted in rich, deep copper, carrying a warm, earthy glow that hinted at the hands it would pass through and the stories it would silently collect. Measuring approximately 25.4 millimeters in diameter and weighing around 5.67 grams, it was substantial enough to feel real in the hand, yet light enough to disappear into the folds of a cotton sari or the pocket of a dotard on its obverse. The commanding bust of King Edward VII faced right, crowned and robed, embodying the distant power that controlled the fate of millions. Around his profile, the Latin inscription proclaimed his imperial titles, reinforcing British dominance in a language unfamiliar to most of the very people who used the coin. The artistry was detailed, the beard finely engraved, the royal robes cascading with dignity, each line and contour etched carefully by craftsmen who understood that this small object needed to convey majesty and control. Flip the coin, and the reverse offered another world. Simple yet elegant. The denomination quarter anna India was proudly displayed in bold capital letters, surrounded by a wreath-like design of intertwining leaves, hinting at India's rich natural bounty. Below the denomination, the year 1905 stood clear and prominent, rooting the coin firmly in its time. The script, the layout, the small decorative flourishes, all were products of meticulous design, aiming to marry British order with Indian richness. Most of these coins were minted in Bombay, though some were produced in Calcutta. Bombay minted coins often bore no mint mark, as was typical at the time, yet the skilled craftsmanship distinguished them. Production methods included careful copper alloy smelting, coin blank preparation, and precision striking using high-pressure presses that left detailed, sharp imagery on the finished product. The 1905 quarter anna was part of the early coinage under Edward VII, who had ascended the throne in 1901 after the death of Queen Victoria. His reign ushered in a modest stylistic shift in coinage. Coins under Victoria had been heavily neoclassical, with emphasis on imperial grandeur. Under Edward VII, there was a subtle move towards a more naturalistic portrayal, a slight softening of lines, a more approachable royal visage, though the authority they projected remained undeniable. As the 1905 quarter anna flowed into circulation, it began to gather stories like drops of rain collect in a river. Picture an old bazaar in Calcutta, the air thick with the scent of cardamom and sandalwood, the shouts of merchants filling the afternoon heat. A mother haggles over the price of a basket of eggplants, finally handing over 2 quarter annas with a firm nod. Or imagine a tea garden in Assam, where a weary worker pockets his day's wages. Only a few annas, yet enough to buy rice and maybe a small treat for his child. In the princely states, royal courtiers might have accepted quarter annas as part of complex tribute systems. In Bombay's crowded streets, fishermen handed them over at dawn for new nets. Across the country, countless hands, stories, and lives touched the 1905 quarter anna without a second thought, and yet each transaction formed a thread in India's rich historical tapestry. Fast forward to today. The 1905 quarter anna has transformed from a tool of survival to a cherished relic of history. Its value now depends on its story. How well it was preserved, how many scars it carries from its travels, whether it bears rare minting errors, whether its designs remain crisp and its color still glows with that ancient copper warmth. Collectors today seek these coins with passion. A heavily circulated 1905 quarter anna with worn features might fetch $175 or so at a collector's fair. Yet an uncirculated, brilliant example with full details and original luster can command up to $1,900 or more. Factors like die errors, double strikes, misalignments, off-center images can drive prices even higher, sometimes making a single coin a once-in-a-lifetime find. Grading systems, such as those used by NGC or PCGS, rank coins on a scale from poor to mint state. A poor 1 coin would be barely identifiable. A fine 12 would show moderate wear but clear designs. An extremely fine 45 would have only minor rubs on high points. And a mint state 65? Practically untouched since the day it was minted, a miracle of survival. Imagine the excitement of an elderly gentleman in Delhi, rifling through an old family trunk, uncovering a tiny cloth pouch tied with a faded string, and spilling out a handful of copper coins, each one a whisper from the past. Among them, a 1905 quarter Anna, still proud after more than a century. Or picture a young woman in London, bidding on a rare 1905 quarter Anna at a prestigious auction, her heart pounding as the final gavel falls. Today, colonial-era Indian coins stir the imagination of collectors around the globe. They are keys to lost worlds, tangible fragments of history you can hold in your palm. And among them, the 1905 quarter Anna stands out. A coin born in a year of division and awakening, crafted with imperial pride, circulated among dreamers and workers, and now treasured by those who still hear its silent stories. Depending on its condition, rarity, and historical significance, a 1905 quarter Anna from India can fetch between $175 to $1,900 in today's collector market.